Hadithi yangu, my story. I tell it the way I lived it, the way I understand it, and the way it made me feel. It's my truth, my experience, my life. What's your story? Because we want to hear it. Welcome to Hadithi Yangu podcast, and my name is Cecilia Mlenga, your host and narrator. All right, greetings to you, Francis. Hello from my end. How are you today?
Hi, Ceci. I'm really good, and it's a very kind of restful weekend, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here speaking to you after a very long time.
Yes, it is. So I know you're a busy man, and as young people say, busy catching flights, not feelings. I hope you're
I'm
catching
really
a
kind.
lot of flights.
I mean, sometimes it gets very, very tiring. I really wish that I'm not traveling. Um,
Mm,
yeah, but
yeah.
sometimes I just have to travel. Like um, uh, end of last year and this year, I think I was in more than 21 flights, and
Oh
it becomes so
goodness.
tiring. Yeah, back to back every other 2 days. It's so hectic.
Mm.
But I hope, I wish not to travel, so that I
Oh.
can do more.
Yeah, so that you can do more. But I know that with your travel, you're still able to be impactful wherever you travel to. So there's a reason why you're traveling.
Yeah,
So I think it's still a good thing. That's work in itself. So I'm hoping that you do get more time to rest and to do those things that you love when you can. Um, but something I know for sure is I've been privileged to know you for quite a bit. I do not know you too much, but I also do not know you too little. But I
yeah,
remember first time I saw you was on a panel discussion at
yeah.
Innovation Week in Tanzania. And when you spoke, I was just like, wow. And the wow was mainly because of the way you were able to articulate your ideas and paint a picture of the challenges that Africa had and the possible solutions to them. And you spoke so passionately. When we sit down as an audience listening to a panel discussion, we're usually just sitting there in awe and thinking about, oh, this person has 20 years of experience, so definitely they have something to give. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes we
Mm,
actually want to see more young people like ourselves passionate about change, passionate about
yeah,
solutions. And that's what I saw. So immediately I thought to
yeah.
myself, you know what? I'm going up to this guy. I'm going to introduce myself, not because I think he's too amazing, but because I want to be able to sit with this person and talk to this person whenever whenever we're able in the
Yeah.
future. So that was my first encounter with you, and from that day, just seeing you evolve and seeing the work that you're doing for Tanzania and Africa and for young people. I just want to commend you for that. So hongera sana.
Asante Sana. I mean, from this year, I also kind of made some self decisions to actually have some time for myself, even if
Mm,
it's so small, and not just for myself, also to make time for my friends. What happened over the past couple of years is that I lost track of everything because I was just too focused about trying to make it, trying to be at a certain place in life.
mm,
And when I was doing my year reflection, of course, last year, my birthday last year, of course, August is my birthday as well. What I
mm,
noticed was that, yeah, what I noticed was that I was all about work. I mean, work,
mm.
work, work, and I cannot even. I've not spoken to some of my friends. They call me every other time. I've not called them. I like, you know what? I'm going to change this, and I have to be very intentional about it. I I started calling my friends, like, how are you? How is your day? I'm just checking on you. And it kind
Mm,
of brought back those old time memories. It brought back the
yeah.
bond. I'm more connected to people, and these are what really matters. And since then, I also made the decision that every Saturday morning, I must go for a breakfast, take myself out,
Mm. Nice.
go
That's
for
a
a
very healthy one. Yeah.
yeah, go for a
Love that.
breakfast, not do anything, just chill, eat. take a fresh air or something like that, then I can continue my day. And these things could be very small, but they really give me that refreshing feeling, you know.
Mm.
Starting the week again, I'm not really burnt out. I'm more excited, and I'm able to kind of reconnect with my friends, and I'm able to even know what's happening in their lives. Because if there was a time I spoke to one of my friends, I figured that a lot has happened in our life. I like, oh my God, I'm so missing, and these are
Mm.
things I could really be able to help with. And I felt like I can be able to achieve my goal, and I can also be there for people that really care about me, and I can be there for myself as well. And I'm trying
Yeah.
to move all of these pieces together. And for the past half a year, it's been very awesome for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that because, yeah, you can get really lost in the busy and the work, but I think what makes us human is being able to connect with the people
Yep.
around us, with family and friends. So yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. Now, who is Francis and what do you think sets you apart? You know, when someone, because I don't want to ask you like how people ask in an interview. I just want to, what do you think sets you apart? When people think of Francis, what would people say?
Okay. So, I mean, I think this is coming quite kind of timely because
Mm,
I'm actually going through a leadership coaching session for the past
mm,
couple of months. And to be honest with you, I think I've been living, a bumper to bumper life until I went
mm,
into this leadership coaching session with some amazing coaches, very interesting people. And they wanted to know why do I behave how I behave?
mm,
How, why am I like this? That's the question they're asking. And what they asked me to do then was to use an hour to explain my life from when I was a kid
mm,
to when I am now where I am. You know, when I was doing that, I started seeing some repetitive incidents that
mm,
really kind of shaped who I am today.
mm,
And that's exactly what people see. So what people see as Francis is that I am a goal getter.
mm,
I am I am stubborn with some goals. I'm stubborn that if I'm going to do this, I will do it. So some people see me that I'm too competitive, you
mm,
know, and I resonate with most of them. I am someone that if I set out to do something, no matter what it takes, I will do it.
mm,
And the only thing in my leadership experience or what we're unfolding is that I am just too focused on the goal. So either people are with me or they're not with me, I will still go ahead, irrespective.
mm,
So I kind of lost track in terms of like carrying people along, making them understand, and all of those kind of things. But generally, for me, I am someone that is, I am goal driven. I am also very purposeful with what I do. So
mm,
all of this kind of shaped from when I was a kid, from where I grew up from. I grew up from a place that is very chaotic, a place where your voice can be lost if you are not aggressive. Your voice can be
mm,
lost if you are not competitive. So I grew up in a place where I really have to show that I am strong. I
yeah,
grew up, going from that to going to university. When I was going to university, I studied petroleum engineering. And for me
mm,
to go into the engineering school, we need to do what we call basic program. And in my department, petroleum engineering, the college will only take about 35 people into the engineering program for petroleum engineering. And we
oh
are
wow,
385. We are 385 the basic program. So that means
mm,
around 350 will go home.
mm,
So you need to kind of fix yourself into those 35. So the
yeah,
competition, everything, yeah, everything about me has been compete, compete. And that
mm,
really kind of shaped me. So,
yeah,
coming to Tanzania, I just have to compete.
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, and then
Anywhere I am, I want to compete.
yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense why you are the way that you are. Um, but let's start from the beginning. Talk about your life in Nigeria. You
Yep,
are Nigerian and you're currently based in
yep, full blood.
Tanzania. you
Half
moved to
Tanzanian.
Tanzania. Yes, as you said, now you're half Tanzanian. I love that. But take us back to Nigeria, your background.
Yes.
What were you doing before you moved to Tanzania, and what dreams or frustrations pushed you to think about relocating?
Yeah. So I wouldn't talk about frustrations. I'll talk about purpose and
Mm,
vision or alignment. So I'll talk about me, originally who I was before I met some organization. I am, of course, I mentioned my teenage time, I was very aggressive because that is what my environment made us to be. Growing up, going to university in another region, and going into a prestigious, petroleum engineering is prestigious because
mm,
it's oil. You get to work in the oil company and all that. So when I went into the College of Engineering, Department of Petroleum Engineering, every other person wants to work in the oil company. So that was my vision. My vision was, go to school, have good grades, graduate, get a job, um, marry a very beautiful woman, have a good family,
mm, mm,
life just easy, just a normal
mm.
life. We
Yeah.
that was the vision. So it was so clear, just like that. So in my second year in university, I met an organization called ISEC, and when I met ISEC, I met quite some group of people, just like me, young people, and I went for induction. These guys were speaking a lot about a lot of world challenges, impact, supporting your community, leadership development. I was like, so there's a different world from where I am. I am in a world of education. I'm trying to graduate with good grades and I started figuring out I was so selfish with who I wanted to
Mm,
be. I was just going to just go to school, marry, get children, just relax and enjoy my money if I make the money, right? But I met another crop of people just like me, thinking beyond themselves, thinking in a way that how would they be able to use their skills, their knowledge to be able to improve their community, to be able to give back to the community. I felt like, something really kind of came on me and I felt like I am underutilizing my potential because
mm,
at that point I actually could do a bit of a coding, programming and all that. And I felt like, but what if I can use this to support people in my community? We grew up in a very chaotic area. And what if I started teaching some of the young people this kind of digital skills, tech skills, and they can use that to be able to start forming their career and all that. So that inspired me. And I feel like, yeah, I think I can do something for my community. I think I don't want the next generation to just go through the chaotic life we went through growing up. And I can contribute to shaping this. And that's how I joined ISEC. And my focus in ISEC then was all about project development. I was just focusing on developing projects. And my first project then was called Switch. It's just called Switch on IT, like IT for secondary school kids. And I was project
mm,
manager. I had opportunity to go to some schools. I taught them about, Microsoft, simple programming and all that. And when I was graduating my fifth year, I actually kind of heard I was walking out of the campus and some guy called my name and he walked up to me and he was like, you don't recognize me? I was like, I don't recognize you. So he mentioned his name, he mentioned the school he went to. So I remember back here, like 4 or 5 years ago, I was in that secondary school, So
mm,
like, you taught us this, now I'm studying computer science because of what I learned. That gave me that sense of purpose and a validation that, these little things really matter. So for me to go to train them in their school on basic computer skills, that really inspired that guy to pursue a career in computer science. And that is what really kind of shaped me. And I felt like I could do more. And
yeah.
ISEC being, and after that, I actually did other projects. I did project in entrepreneurship. Actually started a project called Project Pink, which is creating awareness against breast cancer. We raised a couple of money to support breast cancer patients and all that. So when I was in school, my vision started shaping a little bit from just trying to be a family man, just a family man, which is really beautiful, to
Mm,
now trying to see that I can be able to extend and be more purposeful with my own life. And I
yeah.
did all those projects, and I actually became more conscious about myself, became more conscious about my environment. And I'll just give you a bit of how I came also to Tanzania. I
Mm,
I I when I was now going to my final year, I have to go for what we call feed traineeship. I don't know what they call it in Tanzania here. You go for like 6 months industrial training. So when I went to industrial training, I went to the rig, the what we call rig, like a production site for crude, and
Mm,
we were actually flaring gas. So when you flare gas to get the crude oil, you actually flare. It comes out of like a fire, and in that smoke there's some harmful elements which are harmful to human beings and also destroy the climate. So
mm,
when I got this awareness, I felt like I'm a global change agent, and I don't want to be part of the people destroying people or destroying the environment. That's why I kind of put a pause in my petroleum engineering career, and
mm.
I started going into empowerment. Yeah.
I see.
So ISEC being a global organization, you can actually be able to go intern or work in ISEC in other countries. And
Mm,
how I got here was that in my final year at university, some of ISEC members from Tanzania actually came to my university to do exchange program, and I started learning a lot about Tanzania. Don't kill me. First, what I knew about Tanzania before I met
mm.
Tanzanians was that Tanzania was part of Kenya, and Lake
Oh
Victoria was in
goodness.
Uganda alone.
Oh, that's quite sad. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I like okay. So when I talk about Tanzania, then I only I thought Tanzania was a part of Masai that was in Kenya. So
Mm,
so I felt like Tanzania was like an extension. But later on, I mean, I met these people from Tanzania, very passionate, interesting people, and I just kind of already fell in love with leaving my country. That behavior of being competitive, trying to leave my comfort zone is there already. So I feel like, let me go to explore somewhere else. Let me see what is there. And I came here first for what we call leadership. I was here for like 3 months. I got to go to some of the beach. I fell in love with the country. And I also saw that, the culture here is a little bit different for young people. Young people are more pole, not
mm,
aggressive, just want to go to get a job, and so I feel like I could be more valuable here than just in Nigeria, because I think I
yeah.
can bring some inspiration, I can bring some energy, I can bring some fire, um to come and really inspire, because Tanzania is really blessed, resources wise, geography wise, everything. I thought, like, young people can be a power engine, economic engine, if only they can be inspired and
Mm,
take up leadership roles, be more purposeful and all that. So when I go back to Nigeria, for ISEC, every other year, ISEC national team open application. Then any ISEC member from any part of the world can apply to any country. So I applied
mm.
back to be on the national team for ISEC Tanzania, and I was selected. That's how I came to Tanzania, and that is how I am now half Tanzanian. So it's a
Oh
lot
wow.
more. It's a lot more of not like frustration, but it's a lot more of like a purpose-driven mission, because I saw that I could be more useful. I could be able to inspire more young people here and make them to see opportunity in their country, and also try to also be able to lead with intention. So that was how I came to Tanzania.
Was there any fear in you moving to Tanzania? Because I remember just relocating as of last year, and I think human beings love familiarity. And now you moving to a new country, um, you don't have family in that country. How was that transition for you?
Yeah, so we are human beings. We like our comfort zone and all that, and which is quite natural.
Mm,
For me, I think it was a lot more about anxiety, because I don't know, you know, um, what would it be? How are people
mm,
there? What is the food? Can I cope and all that? Because in terms of like when it comes to like family and all that, I've lived away from my family for a while. My family lives in another region. I schooled in another region for like 8 years, so I was already not very close to my family when I was in Nigeria. So, but it was a lot more in terms of, you know, is Tanzania like Nigeria?
mm,
And so there's this kind of a lot of unknown thoughts that I want to kind of unravel. I want to kind of uncover. So coming to Tanzania was, a whole new slate for me. Me naturally, I'm adventurous, and I want to kind of try new things. I want to kind of see myself doing new things, uh, to challenge myself, challenge my worldview. So coming here was a lot more in terms of, let me see what are the opportunities there, what can I do, what can I contribute, and how can I really. I mean, to be honest, I didn't think so much that the culture would be different from Nigeria. So for me, it
Mm.
was a lot more in terms of like, in my head, I go there, I plug in, I play. You know?
Mm.
Yeah. So coming here, everything is new. So it wasn't the way I felt like, oh, just, I go into, I say, like, I have my meetings, I design projects, I implement projects, I do that. But I have to kind of unlearn a lot, and I have to start integrating myself. So that took a
Yeah,
bit of a time. Yeah, but for me, when I go to new places, I already have some sort of like a picture in my head, but I'm also very anxious to see what is out there for me.
yeah. And what surprised you the most the moment you came to Tanzania?
The language,
Mm.
landing at the airport and everyone speaks Swahili, I'm lost.
Yeah. Mm.
So I think that's the first surprise. Like, oh my God, how do I find my way? Everyone is like, we are all black skinned, so what's going on? Like, why, why can't they speak
Yeah.
English? And all
Mm.
that, yeah. So I'm sure they must have seen me like, what's wrong with this guy? You know.
Yeah.
So it was the first surprise at the airport. But I think the
Mm.
major surprise for me is the culture.
Mm.
Because that took me time to understand and to accept.
Mm.
The culture
So
is
what
quite very
aspect?
different. Yeah,
What
so
aspect of the culture?
the aspect of the culture that really took a lot of time is things, I mean, how do I put it? It's like pole pole, no rush. And you can't be aggressive. You can't. So I can give you an example. So there was, when I came, I really wanted to. After 2 days, I quite packed my bag. I want to go back home. What
Oh.
happened was, what happened was that, I mean, I had kind of fixed a meeting for 9 a.m.
Mm.
With some members, my team members, and the first person turned up at 10:30 a.m. That's 1 hour 30 minutes, and that
Oh
wasn't
my.
just the issue. The issue is that there was no remorse. So
Mm.
I was like, you are late. So like, yeah, I know. I like, why are you late? It's like, oh, there's traffic. I like,
Oh.
okay. Is there traffic there every other day? She said, yes, there's traffic there every other day. I like, so there's traffic here. Say yes. So like, why don't you, factor that into your planning and leave earlier? So like, just like that.
Mm.
I like, oh my God, I can't. I can't. I want to bust. I like, no, I can't. I just have to carry my bag and go home. I can't do this. You know, I mean, I mean, where I come from, if you are late, you have to apologize. You have to actually acknowledge you're late. It's not just
Yeah.
like whatever, you see?
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, this, I can't. So I think that aspect of the culture, was the so that aspect, in fact, everything about the culture. That one. The second one is that when I go to buy something, I have to say Naumba. I can't say Nipe.
Yes.
But it's my
That's the
money.
difference. Yeah, that's the difference between Kenyans and Tanzanians. I think the approach
No,
of
no,
asking.
that's the difference between Tanzania and the rest of the world. I mean, it's my money. It's my
No,
money.
but you
I
know
want to
what?
buy something.
But I feel that that approach is also very much linked to the British way of communicating. I think British people, considering they did colonize us, they have more of that polite approach to things. Their language is polite. Their face might not look polite,
Yeah,
but their language is very polite.
yeah, just the language is
Which is
polite.
yeah, yeah, wow, yeah, yeah. I've gotten that with many people. Yes, in Tanzania, unasema naomba. You cannot
Yeah,
say
I was like,
nataka.
yes, I have exactly. So I have to kind of have to actually, if I go to buy something, I have to, Zazui, Salama, and this,
The greetings.
like 20 greetings. Like, I don't have that time. I already planned my day.
I
So that I said like, oh my God, I don't want to
mm,
do this morning, and all that. So those are, very challenging for
yeah.
me, and all that. So, and actually, people, even up till now, people feel like I am a proud person. Oh, he's too
Mm,
proud. I'm not proud. I don't think so. I always get out. Oh, you don't want to talk to people. I like, okay, what am I going to talk about?
mm,
Actually, sometimes, when I'm if I'm taking a bus to another region, I always kind of use my headset and all that. So people
yeah.
close to me they will kind of tap me. They want to talk. I like, what do you want to talk about? Can you just focus?
Let's
Yeah, so
focus on the
so
journey.
exactly. So there's this kind of, this communal culture here. It wasn't what I was used to,
Yeah.
and so that's another thing that, those are the cultural shock that I got, when I was here. And also, I also think that the culture also kind of influences how the brain thinks. You see,
Mm,
so because people feel like there's no rush, so the competition is not hard. People don't want to. And of course, I will also give you a bit of experience. People don't want to do things outside their comfort zone. So
mm,
when I left ISEC, I actually worked for a development organization called DKT. We're selling family planning products, and I was running under the organization. I was running a UNFPA funded program which is called iPlan, and we were
mm,
providing family planning product to students. So this actually, I mean, I don't know if this falls onto another question, but this is actually what inspired me to want to start something.
mm,
And I engaged by that year, that was 2015, 16, I engaged with a lot of students, thousands of students. I just want to kind of understand, what their passion, what their purpose. People, it was just flat. I just want to go
mm,
to school, maybe look for a job, and that was it.
yeah.
That was it. So I felt like, no, there could be something we can do. We have to plant a seed. We need to do something different. And and that was how I left that job, and I said, let me do something that I'm really, truly passionate about, and is to help young people find their potential, help them to really do something more meaningful than just waiting to get a job. Because
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of foreigners come to Tanzania. They make so much money, they go home and all that, and Tanzanians just work for them. I mean, Tanzanians can be anything. And I saw that Tanzanians can be whoever they want to be. It was just
Yeah.
a matter of, you know, having that belief or having that exposure. For one, if for something you've not experienced, you can't you can't even imagine it. You
Mm,
understand? So if for example you are in the US now, right? You're kind of exposed to how people are monetizing content. You are now
yeah.
going to learn about those things, and you see there's opportunity there. So what
Mm,
was lacking at that point is exposure,
yeah.
practicability, giving them that kind of sense of confidence that this could happen. And that was what was missing. And that
Mm,
was why I felt like, I need to start something.
wow. Wow. And I'm just thinking the pole pole culture in Tanzania. Do you feel in any aspect that there's some beauty to that? Have you found some comfort and maybe a sense of maybe this is not too bad to a certain extent compared to Nigeria?
So I mean, over the years, I have come to really enjoy, will I say, or really love the diversity in culture. I
Mm,
see it as a check and balance, you know.
yeah.
After I have, traveled, from Nigeria to the east, to the south, from Zambia to Zimbabwe to Botswana to South Africa, you know, uh, it's like, life becomes a little bit slower as you go down the south.
Mm, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you feel like, oh man, Tanzania is, it's pole pole. You go to Botswana, it's worse. I don't think Tanzanians can survive Botswana. Yeah, so something like that. And for me, it's because why it was kind of frustrating for me in the beginning was because it's not my culture. I never
yeah.
experienced it. I was never exposed to it. And it's always very quick for us to judge, to say, no, these guys don't know what they are doing. This culture is there, But over time, I just saw this to be very beautiful. Because imagine if the whole world is running fast.
Yeah.
Imagine if every country is like Nigeria. It would be very chaotic.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, imagine everyone, Kenyans, Tanzanians, South Africans, Nigeria, everybody,
Mm,
like it will be chaos.
yeah.
So it's always important to have a culture that slows things down a little bit.
Mm,
And there is always a pro and con for everything.
yeah.
Pro for here is that I'm sure I'm not going to have hypertension, high blood pressure because I'm just chilled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like, life is beautiful. We enjoy life, and I don't have to panic for most of the things. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm in Nigeria, I have to live, I have to be on my toes every other time in most of the part of the country. Maybe if I live in Lagos, for example, right? So
Mm,
I've come to really see that there's beauty in diversity, especially when it comes to culture. So now I am not too fast, I'm not too slow, and
mm,
it just helped me to keep things in order at that point, and I kind of I feel like I'm very privileged to be in this situation.
yeah.
So right now I can live in anywhere. I can live anywhere, slow, fast, whatever it is, and I love any of it, and any part of it. Yeah. So it is not. I always tell people, like, it is not because you come from Nigeria or from West, you feel like this is not a good culture, but there's no bad culture. There's nothing like
Mm,
that because Tanzania has been existing in this culture and it's beautiful.
yeah.
You see, so what is there is that there is diversity. The way
Yeah.
I think, the way I behave, is not how you think, and it's not how you behave. That doesn't make the other person more superior.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
way of life. You
Yeah.
understand? And everyone has a pro and everything has a con. If here, of course, people could be slower to get things done, but of course they enjoy the peace of being Tanzanians,
Mm, mm,
right?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
something like that. So for me, I am half Tanzania right now, so I enjoy the peace. What I am all about is even with the peace, we need to find purpose. We need to
Yeah.
find that spark for us
Mm,
to be able to build. We need to find, and that is changing. Ceci, I've seen, at least from people that we've supported now, I've seen Tanzanians now doing incredible things.
yeah.
And now money is flowing into the country. Investors are trusting companies here. Investors are trusting startups here. And that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it requires just kind of exposure, require a little bit of a spark, and things will really switch. And
Yeah.
Tanzania is already in that
Yeah.
transition space. That's where Tanzania is. And the peace is still there. The culture is beautiful. It's only going to get better.
Yeah. And the Tanzanian culture, it seems slow, and it is slow, I must say, it is
It's slow.
slow. It's
Yeah.
very slow. However, the culture doesn't necessarily equivalent to how successful the country is per se. I think with culture, there's also leadership and so many other aspects to it. Um, but I've seen companies equally succeeding in Tanzania in spite of the culture. So as you said, I think there's a balance to things. And if countries were all the same in terms of how fast or how slow they move, then you wouldn't have that dynamic. But at the end of the day, we're seeing a lot of people moving from Western countries of starting their lives in Tanzania because of that slow culture. They actually
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
because they get room to
You want to
breathe.
slow down.
They
Yeah.
want to slow
You want to
down.
slow down.
You have been
Yeah.
sprinting for the past 10, 20 years, and you're like, okay, can I catch a break? Can I please
Yeah.
just live? Can I feel the breeze pass without me thinking someone is out to get me? That type of thing.
Yeah.
So I've definitely seen beauty in that. But now, do you feel like at any point you've ever been misunderstood because of the way you approach things, the way you you're more aggressive and more passionate and more driven in that sense? Have you ever felt like, okay, I'm misunderstood. People do not understand what I'm trying to do here.
That's every other day. It's like that.
Mm,
Every other day. I mean, even in my office, everywhere, it's just the same. I see also it's kind of attributed to cultural differences. Um, for me, how I'm kind of designed is that once I feel like this makes sense, I like this makes sense. I don't I don't want to waste another 2 days to make it happen.
yeah.
You understand? So
Mm,
people kind of feel like, oh, you don't want to listen to our idea or you don't want to listen to our suggestions. You see,
mm,
you just want to implement. You just want to do how you want to do it. But for me,
mm,
that's not the case. The only issue here is that I don't think you need 2 days to give me your ideas.
yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
You understand? So why should we take? So what I don't understand is, or why what I didn't understand before. That's why I started my leadership coaching program. Is why should I give you 2 days to think about suggestions? That means
Mm,
we have lost 2 days before we start even thinking of implementation.
mm,
You see, so people, so right now, that actually kind of over time affected relationships across board, even at work. Because
mm,
if I say, "Oh, I'm thinking we do this in Zanzibar," people say, "Okay," but actually they didn't want to say okay. It's just that
mm,
they feel like you will still do it that way. It doesn't matter.
I
But
see.
deep down me, I said maybe we can do in Zanzibar because I want you guys to think and give me your suggestions.
Yeah. So just being proactive. I think the lack of
Ex-
proactivity.
exactly. So people just feel like, you just do whatever you want to do. I like, no, I don't want to do whatever I want to do. I just feel like, when I talk about something or I make a suggestion, I just feel like you guys can quickly think about it and provide your recommendations. But I don't
Yeah.
think after I've mentioned something, it takes 4 days, and potentially they will not even act on it until I start making the implementation. They're like, you didn't give us time to,
Mm,
you know. So
yeah.
now that's why I kind of started. So this it became like now a perception, and it
Mm,
destroys everything because it
yeah.
becomes a one man leadership because
Mm,
everyone feels like whatever will follow. So
yeah.
at that point, your business, your company, or your project will grow as much as you can think, because
Yeah.
people are not contributing. Yeah. So that's why I started my leadership coaching program. I told my coaches, like, you guys, this is what we need to solve. So right
Mm,
now, I have become more slow. I mean, slower in terms of communicating, and I have to be very intentional to ask people if they understand. So I'll come like, Ceci, I am thinking that. So let me give you my first best before. Like, Ceci, I think we should go to Diani for team building, right?
mm,
I've said I think. So me in my head, I expect that maybe you say, no, why not here? Why not here? Then you say,
mm,
okay. So because you have concluded that I've made up my mind. But
mm,
now, how I'm approaching things, like I will come like, Ceci, as I'm here, I'm just trying to think if it's possible we can go to Diani for the team building. What do you think? Or do you understand?
mm.
So yeah, so now I have to really now give back the question. Do you understand? Do you have a suggestion? Do you think we
Yeah.
can do it better? So I have to now ask for it. You see,
I.
so that, yeah. So that's the solution. But before now, it's always like that. People misunderstand me every other time. And that doesn't really provide a very healthy or a productive environment.
So I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking that culture is a product of practice, right? And for me, practice also is very much linked to education. So, as much as you come from a very high intensity environment, Nigeria, Lagos, where everything is very fast and quick, I am trying to think back when I was in Tanzania. A lot of the times when I would be given a project or I'm thinking of an initiative that I feel will be very transforming. I'm a very fast thinker and I'm a very quick implementer as well. So I'll go to my manager and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do. And then they're like, okay, so have you thought about this and this and this? I'm like, yeah, I have the full plan. I have a 2 year plan. This is how we're going to do it. It also has more to do with the way our education system has been designed, um, not giving us a chance to think and be creative and push ourselves, right? But you find that people who have been privileged to have access to either private education or even study in other cultures, other countries, that exposure, as you were talking about earlier, contributes to how fast, how slow, how responsive, how proactive people are. So I have met Tanzanians that are very fast, but then when you sit down and really ask about their background, you can
They're
understand
not from here, of course.
they're either not from here or they're from a very different family. And I
Environment
think even Wachaga uh,
are faster.
are faster. So I think it also depends what part of the country, but also um, background in terms of education. So it's rooted in so many things. Um, I I love to believe you permanently moved to Tanzania around 2018. Is that correct?
No, I've been here for in 2016. I worked
Okay.
from 2015. I've been here.
Okay, okay. And for you, within that period of time up until now, can you describe a moment for you that highlights on, okay, whatever I'm doing is starting to make sense, moving from a different
Mhm.
country, coming to Tanzania, starting these initiatives because you're very passionate about community, about people and change. At what point did you think, okay, what, I'm staying in this country, this is making sense, and I feel like this is where I'm going to realize my purpose?
Yes. So I think this could be 20. I'll say after COVID,
Okay.
around 2021. So I'll tell you. Starting when I was working for a development organization, and living and when living in 2017, and I wanted to kind of build something. I have to start from scratch. I have no
Mm,
connections. I have no people. I have no savings so much. I uh, I was just passionate. I had only passion, and I feel like I
mm,
could make a change. So that time from 2017, I was really trying to find myself. In fact, I have to kind of find where I fit in. What am I trying to really do? I know my core has been to really help people find their potential and help them become that. So when
mm,
we started off as a talent organization. So helping people, like how you talked about, those exposures, helping people to learn the right skills, helping people to learn the right employability, competencies and all that, and match them to job and all that. Then in 2018, 2019, we're like, what if we have now a lot of people that are competent and there's no job? So we now
mm,
switched now to become more job creating focused so that we started supporting entrepreneurs. So we started
mm,
looking at who are the innovators that want to build something, want to kind of support them and all that. So through that 2019, 2020, to be very honest, um, I was I was still trying to find what works.
mm.
Yeah, and I will because I was being a foreigner, and if I want to really kind of get things done to open doors and all that, I need some partnerships locally. So if I call people, I email people, they don't respond. So those kind
Mm,
of frustrations that oh my God, like okay, how do I want to do a training, for example, I want to do a training for let's say incubation for product development. I want to invite people, but nobody knows me. Why
yeah.
would even an innovator trust me to come to my session? What what pedigree do I have to be able to do that? You know, then the easiest way would have been to partner with people that are already doing this, that have got some kind of credibility, so that
Mm,
I can use that to build base, right? But when I email these people, even try to get a meeting with them, they don't respond.
mm,
So it was a bit tough to get people to really kind of sell that I can do this. I have the passion. I have what it takes to be able to support entrepreneurs. And so
mm,
that 2029, 2019 to 2020, then COVID hit. Then when COVID hit, I actually kind of went back to the drawing board to look at, how do I make this better? How do I
mm,
really, my focus at that point wasn't just about the money, but actually finding what works, what value is there that I can create for entrepreneurs. So
mm,
we then launched the venture building. So the venture building is like, it's not an accelerator. We want to really now really support entrepreneurs step by step to find business model that work, help them go to market, help them to understand their financial model, help them to really even start looking for capital to grow. So that
mm,
becomes a longer term project, and then during that time we had now people were doing like COVID challenge funds and all that. So we had opportunity to apply for COVID challenge fund, where we can be able to provide up to $5,000 to maybe one of the winners. And of
mm.
course, trust people, they like money. So when we open applications, they're like, you can win 5,000. That's when we started
Yeah.
getting people, and people started now coming to a program, and people found value, and people could now talk about us to say, I was at Innovate program and I got this value and I was able to do this.
Mm,
And that's where my purpose started shaping, and I
mm,
started seeing value. And since then, we are evolving, but the mandate is just the same. The mandate is to be able to get more young people to become economic engines, create jobs, solve local problems for local communities, and all that. And so we continue to improve the strategy on how we are getting there.
mm.
But it was around towards end of 2021, 2022, that I started having that confidence that, this is working. I'm on the right path, and there's now at least a direction for me to build.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and thinking, not having connections, not having people that believe in your vision, because a lot of the times people don't buy the vision. They're not sold by the vision. They want to
Yeah.
see things happening, real things happening.
Results,
Yeah,
results.
results. So I can understand how this was a turning point, but I'm also sitting here reflecting at the number of years that it took you to arrive to that, because from
4 years.
2016, yes, up until 2021, you're constantly trying to work on this thing, and you're redesigning, you're sitting back, you're going back to the drawing board and having to think, how can I better this thing that I'm trying to do? But it just shows that it's a process. It's not one of those things that
Nah,
you jump and you start running. No,
yeah,
it
nah.
takes time. So
There's no shortcut.
I yeah, I commend you for that, because it's 2025 now, and you are still doing it. You haven't given up on that vision, on that purpose that brought you here. So thank you for being impactful to Tanzania. And with Innovate Ventures, do you feel that this is the type of space that is there to support people long term? Do you see being able to impact generations and generations to come? What does that look like when you think long term?
So for us, everything we tap into, or what we're trying to do with Innovate, is purely to build an Africa that is really sustainable. I think we
Mm,
tap into the Afri capitalism model of Tunelinalu. The goal for us is to really support sustainable solutions that will solve our own problem. I mean, if I go back to a lot of things, we will not finish today, but I'll give you a kind of example. Like, what inspires me every other day is that Africa, even with all our resources, we are a consuming, or we're more like a consumption continent than being a
mm,
productive continent. And that's why, sorry to say, we are poor.
yeah.
because we are consuming more than we produce. So it doesn't balance. So we are poor. So for
Mm,
example, I am a farmer and I earn $200 per farming season. That's 3 months, right? So within
mm,
this $200, I have to feed, I have to pay healthcare, I have to pay school fees for my kid, I have to pay transport, I have to pay rent for 3 months. It's not enough. What
yeah.
happens is because most of the things are all imported. So as a farmer that is farming coffee or something like that, I sell raw coffee for a peanut. Then I have to buy processed coffee that was processed probably in Europe or in Asia, and I buy times five of what I sold it.
Yeah.
Then how is that sustainable for me? It's not sustainable. All our production, all our let's say the electronics, the cars, the even schools are imported. We're using British curriculums where we are
Mm,
sending our kids to go study in UK. For example, I earn 80 shillings. Then my kid is studying in the UK, which they have to pay £10,000. I have to convert my T shillings to pounds to pay. That is already consumption. So at the end
yeah.
of the day, our system is not designed to make us to be able to be sustainable. And our goal here is to change that narrative. Because when we talk about natural resources, we have it. We have the most arable lands. We can do agriculture. We have the gold, the Tanzanite. We have all of these. We have, we're building infrastructure. So what we don't have now is that system, policies, support, patient capital, human capital development that can help us start building those things locally. We want to be able to build agricultural value chain that make farming profitable for farmers. That means we're building processing logistics infrastructures, processing industries, and all that, so that we can be able to farm what we eat and we export the rest.
Yeah.
We don't have to export everything and start buying what we eat. We want to be able
Yeah.
to farm, process locally, eat locally. Whatever that is left, we export. It makes us rich.
Yeah.
We want to be able to start having the capacity to assemble cars. I mean, these are already changing. Now, I'm getting there. So
Mm,
our goal is always the long term. When we are supporting innovators or supporting any company or a startup, our goal is what will you be in the next 10 years? What will you be in the next 20 years? What will you be in the next 50 years? How does that really translate to helping Africa become economically sustainable and very powerful? So I can give you
mm,
an example. We supported under one program that we implement on behalf of a partner developed program. We invested about 100,000 euros to a startup here that is assembling electric bajajes. So
mm,
now we want to be able to reduce importation of these bajajes. So people can actually be able to buy with T shillings here, no conversion needs to happen, and they can buy probably at a cheaper rate. Or they can
mm,
actually be able to use local financing local financing models to be able to buy, right? Then there's another one that we support. She's working with farmers. She buys the maize from them and she will process it locally into uji, uh,
mm,
instant instant porridge, right? Which you don't have to process. You just have to pour in water and just eat.
mm.
And this is actually competing directly with Cerelac. You know Cerelac, right?
Yes. Yes.
Cerelac is very expensive. Middle low income families cannot use Cerelac to feed their own children. So
Mm,
there's a malnutrition and all that. So what she's doing is she's making fortified instant porridge that now sells for 500 shillings. So
mm.
that gives a better food options to families,
Yeah.
and we don't have to import anything. No currency exchange, nothing. It's more affordable. Farmers even have quick off takers. These kind of things. In the long term, this when we started supporting her, she was serving less than 1,000 families. Currently, she's serving more than 10,000 families. And this
Mm,
can only go bigger because she's already now thinking next couple of years she will expand into East Africa. So what we
mm,
are what we are doing, when we don't look at just the short-term impact, we're looking at how this will change the economic narrative of the continent, how this will change livelihood and food security, financial inclusion for the continent in the long run. So that's the goal for us. So when we are funding or providing support to startups or companies, we are looking at what could they become in the next 10 years, what could they become in the next 20 years, and how does that key into the whole um, uh, mandate or vision for us to be able to we when you come to our office, you see that what we say that we are supporting entrepreneurs to achieve a prosperous Africa.
Yeah.
So our
Yeah.
goal is always to have a prosperous Africa, either through you are building around financial inclusion value chain, you are building through agriculture, food security, climate resilience, and all of this. We have to make sure that all of these things are fundamental challenges that is hindering us to become economically sustainable.
Mm.
And in the long run, you're able to create decent jobs. In the long run, you're able to solve local problems at a affordable rate for people. In the long run, we're actually be able to build resilient agricultural strategies that help people to be able to even farm, even there's drought and all that. We want to be able to create a whole financial rail that connects even the rural areas to financial solutions. All
Mm.
of these things are things that we want to support and be able to see that in the next couple of years, these are innovations or solutions that are transforming Africa to become a more independent economy on its own.
I love that. I love that. What you're doing at the moment, which key players do you feel are very crucial in bringing this dream to realization? Because for the most part, I feel that Africans or even Africa has a lot of innovators, young people like yourself that are trying to bring about change. But sometimes it can almost feel it's a bit slow. And it's slow not because you guys are not doing the work, but it's that sometimes there's a lack of support, lack of a common goal. And I wonder, what do you think needs to change in order for this dream to actually become bigger, to become even more impactful, not just for Tanzania, but for the rest of Africa? Which key players do you think are crucial and essential to help into bringing this to life?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of pocket support. For most, we are, in a private sector aspect, there's so much you can do, right? Providing small capital, providing technical assistance, trying to connect to market. We can do all of these things, but at what scale, right? So
Mm,
one of the people that they can really skyrocket or accelerate this kind of impact or growth is always the government.
mm,
Um, Once there are right policies, the right incentives, it really changes a lot of things.
mm,
Of course, this is really shaping up. If you look at, government involvement maybe 10 years ago in a startup or in the entrepreneurship ecosystem, it was very slow. But right now,
yeah.
we've seen different governments really trying to play key role. So, for example, in Nigeria, they've already concluded with startup policy. In Kenya, Ethiopia already launched a few months ago. Tunisia, the same thing. And people are building free economic trade zones. For example, Tanzania also launched recently export zone and all that. So all of these initiatives are what really kind of start helping to rethink the policy that guides or regulates startups or entrepreneurs, and also start providing incentives. When we talk about maybe tax cuts, tax breaks, fair
Mm,
competition, reduction of capital gain tax for investors, reduce export tax on certain goods or finished goods. For example, we talk about saying if you are going to export processed goods from Tanzania, you pay this less tax and all that. All of these incentives are what drives economic activities. So once I
mm,
know that if I am actually maybe going to sell processed porridge to outside the country, I pay just 1% tax. It will make me to open a bigger factory because I have more profit to keep because I don't pay so much on tax.
yeah.
So when you provide also fair competition policies that help um, small companies, SMEs, to be able to access some sort of like, tenders, procurement, all those kind of things, it kind of pushes the agenda for entrepreneurship. It pushes the agenda for people to want to start building something in certain spaces. Even in I think in Tanzania, there's a bit of some incentives that the government has already implemented in agricultural products and all of those kind of things. So
Yeah.
the more the government is going to get more involved into building this innovation, these solutions, then it becomes easier to scale them at an impact where it is very significant. And another people that can play a very key role are also corporate. Once we start looking at a very strong collaborations between the startups and the corporate, it really kind of closes gaps. So, for example, you see maybe M-Pesa, Vodacom have launched their super app. Now, they're partnering with some of the startups to be able to create mini apps and be able to serve Vodacom customers. These are the kind of strategies that can really make this our efforts to be able to yield very significant impact in the ecosystem. But it's going there. It requires a bit of advocacy. It requires a bit of proving case success stories to be able to inspire more involvement of the government, to create more inclusive policies that can help startups to be able to scale and be able to unlock capital that can help them compete. So that's the major stakeholder is always the government.
I trust that completely. My only challenge now is that many times it almost feels that solutions are created independently without a common goal. Sometimes that's just how I see it. So you've given examples of corporates starting their own initiatives to achieve a certain goal, but then now the connectivity between the corporates and organizations like yours and the government. At what point do we say this is our meeting point? This is where we meet, and this is where we put these three things together, and this is how we're achieving this thing. I feel like that's where the gap is at the moment. um and I don't know if at any point, or if at all, that's something that a lot of people are seeing. But I see so many people start so many initiatives. I see the corporates working together, and you did say yes, there's power in advocating for all these things. At what point are we gonna say we're doing it? We've talked enough. We have planned. We have all the policies. We have all the plans. But now let's do it together. Let's take Africa to the world. So I'm hoping and I'm praying for those days to come where we will see more of that collaboration. But yeah, when it comes to listening to how you've experienced this journey, the hard work, the culture shocks, and having to adapt and change and kind of reform even you as an individual. What experiences you feel have taught you more about yourself, about being an African, and about building across cultures? Because when we think about Africans, everybody's building for themselves. And I guess this is also more focused on what countries have when it comes to natural resources, what skills are available in those countries. But what do you think this whole experience has taught you about yourself, about Africa, and about building across different cultures?
You talk about in terms of the cultural integration, the
Yes, the
cultural.
culture integration, about yourself. Do you feel like this experience has built you, has changed you, has made you a different person, or do you feel it's just constantly reinforcing all those things that make you the Francis that you are?
Yeah, I mean, I think being in Tanzania or building a different culture has really shaped me. Because I think if I remained in Nigeria, I would have experienced that there was another culture that's like Tanzania, and that would
Mm,
have really changed everything about my life and about my future.
yeah,
And right now I see opportunity across borders. I see opportunities building from Tanzania or building from Nigeria to be able to replicate similar things in different markets.
yeah,
And I'm able to do that. So for me, like I mentioned earlier, I am very privileged to have experienced both cultures. And that really puts me gives me a very strong advantage to be able to see opportunities in different part of in any culture and how and be able to execute those opportunities at that point. So for me, it's an advantage. For me, it's also an eye opener. It gives me opportunity to start becoming or refining myself, um, to know when to be fast, when to be slow, when to be moderate. It taught me a lot about compassion, empathy,
Mm,
It taught me a lot about inclusion. And I
mm,
think as a human being, these are some of the attributes that we need to be able to, survive, succeed, or build with different kind of people. So
yeah.
I don't think, there's any place I will be in the world that I'll feel so frustrated anymore. Because
Mm,
I have, grown to really understand that cultures are very beautiful. So anywhere I find myself, it's a different culture. I think I'm really going to be excited about it, and I want to learn it. and,
mm,
and and that gives me a different strength to compete anywhere. It gives me a different strength to be able to integrate anywhere. It gives me a different strength to be able to find opportunity anywhere and or even replicate what I'm building in Tanzania to other markets.
yeah. Yeah. Wow. I love that. And just wrapping up, just a moment of reflection. Today, as you're sitting right now, do you feel like you belong where you are now? And would you do it all over again?
I mean, when you talk about belonging, you mean belonging to the ecosystem or belonging to what I want to be?
I think in all aspects. So belonging in the ecosystem, meaning that you feel that whatever you're doing is what you need to be doing. But in terms of culture, do you feel like you belong now because now you've taken the time to understand why things are the way that they are? And if you were to replay to the first time you considered coming to Tanzania, would you actually do it again?
Yes, I mean, when you talk about, okay, I will address that. Belonging, I think wholeheartedly, I am doing what I am born to do.
Mm,
I have 100% conviction that this is who I am supposed to be. And, when I sit down and reflect upon the journey, I like, when I set out, this wasn't what I planned for myself, but I feel so fulfilled every other day doing this.
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think I can do any other thing
Mm,
that will give me fulfillment than what I'm doing right now. And so I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I know there's a lot more to do.
mm.
Also on the culture, yeah, I think I'm half Tanzania right now. So I really, really, admire the culture. I kind of already get used to it a little bit, and it's also sometimes now add to my favor because I want to rest sometimes. I get an
Mm.
excuse to rest.
Yes. Yeah.
And all that. So I think it's really, if you're able to figure out how to work with it, it works for you. So over
Yeah.
time, I have figured out how to work with the culture, and it's working for me right now. And if I have to do it all over again, I think I will do it. And if I have to take some experience, I think I'll
Mm.
do it better and I will succeed faster.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But hey, I guess this is what life is about. You learn on the job. Um,
Yes.
yeah, maybe if we had another life, you definitely be able
You
to do
know,
it better. Yeah.
yeah, I'm telling
Yeah.
you. I mean, yeah, it's just a good thing. Yeah. So the only thing that I don't really kind of want to be is conformity. I don't want to kind of. I'm not kind
Mm,
of person that I want to really conform to say this is how things are done. I really want to really find a better way to do something.
yeah.
I think that I want to really find a way that to make the culture work for me and work for people I work with, to work for
Mm,
the community. I want to
yeah.
make the culture. So one thing that I always, even in my office, I also want to cancel and rule out is to say, this is who I am, or this is what it is.
Mm,
They just accept, we come late, so it's just like that, pole pole, whatever, right?
mm,
So I think for me, I don't think that's the culture. I think that is people taking advantage of the culture.
yeah.
Yeah, so conformity, finding innovative ways, better ways to make the culture work for you, yes. And that's what we try to plug into our work. We try to plug into our support to entrepreneurs, and helping them to actually leverage on empathy, compassion to build very important solutions for people and all
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah. So that is, I found a way around that. I found a way to make the culture work for me. I found a way to see how we can start reinventing the culture to work better for everyone.
I love that. Francis, thank you for sharing your journey, your insights, and the incredible work that you're doing to uplift, African startups and drive meaningful innovation across the continent. I've seen you um, in motion, doing what you love. But I've also seen you recently opened a food business, trying to
Yeah,
bring
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
Nigerian
yeah, yeah,
culture
yeah.
to Tanzania. So I'm hoping when I'm back in Tanzania, I will
You
be
should
coming
really
to
visit.
yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely come and I will definitely try your jollof. I am yet to try jollof. So this will be
Oh,
a
wow.
great opportunity for me to try jollof from your business. It is inspiring to see how you are not just investing in ideas but in people, communities, and a long-term transformation for Africa.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on Hadith Yango podcast. Any final remarks?
Yeah, I mean, just to mention that people, community, uh, build systems and everything in it. So when you have a dysfunctional community, then nothing works. So
Yeah.
it's always more important to invest in people, invest in communities, and that will really build any thing you want to build. So I'm really very happy to have the opportunity to share some of my experience, my journey so far, and what we're trying to build. And of course, aside doing maybe a story for another day, aside supporting entrepreneurs, we also have our businesses like the restaurants. We have like two restaurants, one for Nigeria, one intercontinental.
Mm,
We actually also have like some coaching, microfinance. So we have other things.
mm,
Those are a lot more in terms of building liquidity for us to continue to have resources to support entrepreneurs,
yeah.
um, also to continue to fuel our growth. But also, the most important thing why I set up the Nigerian restaurant is actually to drive integration for culture.
Mm,
It gives me so much joy when I go to the restaurant. I see a lot of Tanzanians eating jollof, eating
mm,
egusi, and all that. You know what that does? What that
mm,
does, it goes beyond the food. I know that when these people go to Nigeria, they will not feel like strangers
yeah.
because they've eaten Nigerian food. They will gladly go into a Nigerian restaurant like Egusi just
Yeah.
with so much confidence. And I'm
Yes.
sure when they meet Nigerians anywhere in the world, they are not strangers. Oh, Nigeria, oh, Jollof,
Mm,
this
mm,
conversations will come up. You
mm.
know, that was my original idea for setting up Nigerian restaurant here, and it's actually achieving those goals. Sometimes we host like communities, and it's been very credible.
Wow. Wow. I love that. I've never thought of food in the way that you've just described it, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
So I love the
food is culture.
why. Yeah, I love the why behind the idea as well. So yeah, thank you so much for coming to Hadith Yangu podcast. I'm wishing you best of luck, Francis, and my hope is that we'll be able to sit in future to talk about more and more about your journey. I know there's so much to you. I think something that is so interesting about human beings, depending on where you pick up a story, that's the direction that you're going to take, but there's so many aspects of you that we're yet to explore. So I'm excited for future one-on-one conversations like these that maybe could tap into more of your personal stories, but family as well, and so much more. So thank you so much, and I'm wishing you best of luck once again, and have a good evening. Bye,
Thank you very
Francis.
much. Bye.
Hey, dear listener, thank you for taking this journey with us. We are so grateful to have you on board. To help us grow, please share this show with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe. We are on Instagram and TikTok under the name Hadithi Yangu Podcast. We would love to hear from you. Share your feedback. And if you have a story you want to share with the world, send us a DM or an email on hadithiyangupodcast@gmail.com.